Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the VFR build. Once again, we are still here. We are still building this VFR. Yesterday we left off on our little extended series build here. We left off that I was going to run to the store and get some tubing. I tried, man. I ran to the store, did not get the tubing because they just don't have that. It's a weird size tubing for whatever reason. It's this stuff here. It's the tubing that goes on. There's a whole bunch of it down here on the bottom of this throttle body, this size here. It's 3.5 millimeter tubing. It's kind of like 1/8 inch. It's hard to get at the local level. So I ordered some from Honda. You can order like a bulk roll of this, and that's what I did. It's not like a huge roll. It's like 3 feet or 4 feet or something. So we're gonna have to wait a couple weeks or whatever for that stuff to show up. It's supposed to be 3 to 5 days, but it's not my experience. However, I am going to put this on the bike today because we've got cool stuff and because it's time. We've got these guys here. This was something I had to track down. These were not easy to find. If you're in a position that you're looking for throttle body boots for your VFR, I'll put a link in the description for these guys where I got them. They were difficult to find because A, Honda does not make them anymore. They're no longer available off the parts list. And B, they are produced aftermarket wise. That's what these are. Clear evidence right here that that's true. But if you're looking up the part number, they don't show up. The aftermarket company does not list them with the Honda part number, so they're hard to find. It was a miracle that I found these, basically. But I will list these, and also, I'm gonna throw this up here real quick. That's the company part number right there. Very happy to have found those because the ones on there are pretty stiff, kind of hardened up at this point. So I want to throw those on today. Those go on right here. And then I've also got some other stuff. I got some other stuff in the mail, some parts. This is our fuel pump right here for the VFR. So let's open it up just to take a look at it this morning because it's like Christmas, you know, you get some new stuff in the mail, you gotta enjoy the opening of it. So it comes with some tubing, which we are not going to use. This is one of the things on the reviews. They were like, the tubing disintegrates once you put it in fuel. So we're not gonna be using that. But it comes with the little bag, the little I forget what the term, they call it a bag or a sack or something like that. That goes on the end and whatnot. It comes with a couple of those. But it comes with some various stuff, a new electric plug-in, a little connector. The main meat of it that we are looking for is this guy right here, our little pump. So I'm hoping, one of the reviews said that theirs lasted like 2 years. I'm hoping that is not the case. I'm hoping it will last much longer than that, but this has the correct 2-pin connection on the end here for the electronics, and it looks exactly like the stock one. We're gonna set this aside. I can put a link in the description and whatnot to where I got this guy as well. This was off of Amazon, but I can put a link to which one I got. But that I'm gonna set aside as well for now, but we've got it. We are still waiting on the other parts to show up to rebuild that fuel pump, which is this guy. In case you didn't see that or don't remember, that's this guy here. Clearly, it's in rough shape and we want to rebuild it. We tried to make it run and we couldn't get anything to happen with this. Let's get ready for the day, man. So I think first order will be this throttle body. Get those new boots on there. There's a couple things. I ordered some random little screws because that's kind of the nerd that I am. I'm geeking out a little on this VFR, it's down to the nuts and bolts of like getting those correct. Like, not that it's gonna be a show bike by any means, but there's something in my little brain box that makes me want to have the correct bolts on there. Sometimes, not always. On some bikes, I'm just like, or some projects, I'm like, whatever. Let's just use what we got around. But, and there's a beauty in that too. But, you know, all right. So let's see what we got for, let's go look at the bike quick. So when we look over here at our little motorcycle, this is a good example here. So we got the throttle body boot, and it has two clamps on it. It has a clamp on the top part, a clamp on the bottom part, and these have the little square nut on the end, and then the little bolts are actually different lengths on the top and the bottom. So we got those guys. We're going to be replacing the boot, and like this one, when I got the bike, it did not have a screw on the top part there, a bolt on the top. So we got to replace that, but we are going to reuse the clamps. So back to our workbench. Let's get out those little screws and bolts and whatnot. So there's one there. Then we've got our boots. So I looked up the part numbers and everything. These are all for the throttle body stuff. I have one bolt or screw for the top clamp and one for the bottom clamp, because I think one of those was missing and one of those was kind of stripped. So I got one to replace it. So I want to go ahead and pull these guys off. I think the ones on the bottom are still on there pretty tight. This is the easy part. They're very easy to get to at this point. Although even then, take a watch. Watch how hard it is for me to get off. Can you imagine when the throttle body is on there? Like, they are impossible. So I've got both the screwdriver and a little screwdriver on the end of my ratchet, because I've got, if I had a short screwdriver, which I don't, little stubby screwdrivers, I don't have any of those. I just don't own them. I could use that here. But otherwise I can't get in here and reach this screw to unscrew anything. So I'm just loosening this stuff up. And this is kind of the situation, I've mentioned this before, but where this would be very difficult to get out. With the throttle body on top, it would be very difficult to get this, to unscrew these things, to loosen up these screws. And so I want to be very cognizant of where these screws, at least the series on top, are sort of set up when are pointed, aligned when I put everything back together. Because like these are, you can see like these guys right here, like that one's lined up straight that way. This one's also lined up straight that way. So you have a shot of getting these with like an extension from the outside of the bike, because that's how you have to do it. You have to come in from the side here and come in and get them that way with like a really long extension, and then you can loosen them up. So I want to be very like aware of how these are going together. Otherwise, this is going to be an exercise in frustration to tighten them up, and then if I ever had to take them off again at some point, also very frustrating. But I'm very happy at this point about how this bike is starting to come together. I'm hoping within the next couple of days that we will get to start this thing. Like, I mean, it's possible tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe even today. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to overestimate things. I have a tendency to do that sometimes. I just get overly optimistic on time frames specifically. So in theory, I'm gonna do these one by one. Didn't need that long screwdriver at all. I need to take these off. I'm gonna do them one by one. They're designed to go on a certain way, because you can see we've got a notch, a little hole in the back side here, and there's like a little protuberance on the actual boot itself, so this is locked in at that specific spot. But I want to be able to, like, yeah, this doesn't move. This rubber doesn't move much at all. I need to be able to bust this loose so I can get it off. Not sure that anything is happening. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and unscrew this some more. Oh crap! Lost my bit. I'm gonna try and take this band off entirely, the little clamp, so that I can remove that, get it out of the way so I don't damage it, and then I'm gonna try and just get this boot off however I can get it off, one way or another. Alright, that does not work. That might be our one that's stripped, I don't know. But the bolt head itself, where the screwdriver fits in, does not want to come out. Yeah, these are going to be difficult. Come on, little guy. Keeps trying to run away from me. What's the matter, little guy? Don't you like me? This is some slow movement here. Come on, man. Keep on losing stuff down in this V here. All right. Very precious square nut. I do not want to lose that. Now we should be able to take this band off. Maybe, maybe not. God, it felt like I broke it or something. Man, that was scary. Alright, that's off. Alright, now, is this any way easier to move around? Nope. Nope, it's not. Alright, let's take this out. These are quite the design, man. I mean, they're pretty intricate pieces of rubber. Oh. I feel like it should just pop out. But that's not how it feels. Alright, I'm gonna go with my little piece of non-marring plastic tool here, so I can possibly remove this guy. Get underneath. Maybe? It's not easy. Crap. Yeah, it does not wanna. Boy, this is challenge. Why is it like first thing? There's always like a big challenge in the day here. Wow. All right. I am not sure how to get this out of here. I did not expect this to be so difficult. We're moving to extreme measures. I need to break this loose, man. There we go. Yeah, this stuff is so stiff, so hardened up at this point that it doesn't really flex so much as it just starts breaking. It's like it is, like here, I'm gonna try and squeeze it. It does not move. So, now it's time. Try and get this stuff back together. We got a set right here of clamps. One big one, one little one. I want to sort of wipe the grease off this. Get it somewhat nice. On the actual boot, you can see there's this little nub that sticks out like right there on the bottom. And then on the top, if we rotate this around, there's another nub sticks out right there. And this is so it's designed to go on the bike in a specific manner. It's very interesting. And so these guys, correspondingly, this is the one on the top. It's got a little hole right there, and then this guy has a little hole. It's actually right here. See that? So doing the one on the bottom, rotate that around and get this guy on here. I think I actually have to take the screw out completely to make that happen. It also makes it pretty easy to identify which band is which, just based upon that hole pattern. All right, so we can get this guy on here. Goes on, and you can see that little protuberance there. Line that up with this guy, so that goes on. This goes on, and then our bolts or both heads are both pointed out that way. And that is how it was when I took it off the bike, and that is how it will go back on. And maybe, I think we're going to find out that there's only one way to put these on, and it's from the factory designed that way. It will end up on the bike exactly how it's supposed to be, because yeah, there's all these little design characteristics, little features, or these little things coming out down here. There's little ridges and whatnot down here as well. I assume this all lines up on the bike a specific way. I want to sort of very delicately try and clean this up a little bit so I don't get stuff inside the actual cylinder, into the engine. Oh, it looks so much better. There's just some loose, like, dirty grease stuff on the backside here. So there's that, and then what is interesting, I don't see, there's like these little ridges, this raised part on the bottom of this guy, like right here. I don't know if you can see that really well, but then on the same on the other side too, where it sort of comes out and then drops down right there, which is kind of curious. I'm not sure what the design, clearly that was designed in there for a reason. I'm not sure what the reason is, but we've got these guys that come out here, and there is a corresponding ridge or little nub thing on the actual engine. So this guy slots down, so that the nub slots into this part here. So this is designed to go on specifically a certain way. I'm gonna throw some like soapy water on here just to lube up that bottom part a little bit so that we can have a shot of making sure this goes on correctly. There it is, man. That's easy. Got it lined up with that nub. We are good. I'm gonna throw some more paper towel into this guy while we're doing all this other stuff to make sure that doesn't go anywhere, or to make sure stuff doesn't get down in there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these, swap these out. It might take me a while, and then I'll be back. So just for comparison, here's one of the new boots. This is how, and I'm squeezing this guy, and that's how much that flexes, and that's what you want in rubber. So new one, old one. That's why I'm replacing these. Question, has anybody else ever thought of like schemes? Like, what makes me think about this is like YouTube, right? So YouTube is kind of like a masterful scheme. It's like a snake oil salesman type thing, whatever, because you've got millions of people posting videos on YouTube, right? A lot of them with the hopes that they're gonna make money. And this works because you've got this example of people at the top or whatever that are successful on YouTube that make shit tons of money, right? Like $20,000 a month, that kind of thing, just from the ad revenue on YouTube. Plus they get like, sponsored brand deals and things like that, and other means to make even more money on top of that. And so you have this example of these people that are just normal people that make crazy amounts of money, and you're like, well, I could do that. And then YouTube has this thing where it's like it's supposed to be sort of democratized in the sense that anybody could go on there and do this, right? And so people put in tons of work to make these videos to put on YouTube, and there's a lot of us that make no money. that we are verifiably insane to do this, repeat, and to keep doing this. Like I, as an example, made $150 last month off of YouTube, and that's it. I don't have brand deals and things like that to supplement that money. I just have the ad revenue from the videos. Like I am definitely insane because I know that motorcycles are a small market. There's not many people that are interested in motorcycles at all, let alone are interested enough to watch some random dude on YouTube talk about them, And so you have a very limited audience of people that it's going to appeal to, that are going to watch it. Like, it caps off at a small number. That's just the reality of it. But I do it because I love it. Like, I'm going to be doing this stuff anyways, regardless of whether I have another job or whatever I'm doing. I'm going to be doing this in my spare time. And that's it. So I might as well film it and put it on the internet so that there's the possibility I could actually make some money on it and it could actually pay for itself. Like, that would be really cool, right? If you could just do this stuff and have it pay for itself, like, that would be great. A hobby that pays for itself is a good hobby. And is YouTube a scheme? Like, how conscious are the people who run it about the idea that that there's a bunch of people that just are bad at math that are trying to make this YouTube thing work? Because I would not recommend it to anybody. It's a bad idea. I gotta look this up real quick. Make sure we've got the right part numbers. So I have somehow missed the bolt that was stripped, like the little Phillips head part on the top there, like that was sort of stripped on one of those, and I missed it. I don't know which one it was. I have to go back and look at them all. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff like that, like vitamins or another similar thing where, do they work? Do vitamins really work? Some of them do. Like, I certainly have had blood tests and to sort of verify that some of them work. Like, I know fish oil works very well for me in terms of upping my good cholesterol and that sort of thing. There are a lot of supplements, man, out there that I mean, they can't possibly do a freaking thing to you. But there's the placebo effect. It's alive and real on a lot of that stuff. And why do people do it? Because they're so desperate to make money? Or is it just, I think I do it because sometimes I feel like I don't have a choice, you know? Like, I love it. Like, I love doing the YouTube stuff because it's a challenge. There's a level higher for me to reach, and I love the challenge of trying to make YouTube videos, and I like the challenge of trying to be successful on YouTube. I also like the challenge of just learning new skills. Like, I just got some new video editing software, and like, there's so many buttons, man, and learning all this stuff, like, that's a cool challenge. I love doing that. And then the puzzle of doing the actual work that we're doing here today, the mechanics of how does this go together? Why does it go together? and then looking at the design and how they did it, and like, it's just, that stuff is really fun and challenging, the puzzle aspect of it as well. And then the welding, fabricating, like that whole, like, just, there's always the opportunity to level up on that with just more practice. And then I love that. And then the motorcycles are just the coolest form of art, in my opinion. Like, freaking love motorcycles. I think it's basically like, I want to be a motorcycle artist when I grow up. Like, I think I just figured that out. It's taken me a long time to do it. And do I have regrets about how I lived my life, whatever? Like, no. I wish I had been faster to figure out, you know, what really makes me happy. I know I certainly have met people that like knew when they were 8 or 10, like what they wanted to do with their life, and then having watched them, known them throughout their life, that's what they actually did. Like, those people are just insane. Like, very rare people too. Like, growing up, I think it was like, there's pros and cons to this, but like, growing up, like, I was never told like, hey, you know, you're a dum-dum and you should really find a lane and stick to it and just be happy that you can make a living, you know? Like, that never was told to me, and I did the opposite, where I was like, oh, I can pick that lane, I can do that lane, I can do that lane, and that's what I did. Like, I have jumped from career to different things throughout life, whatever, and there's pros and cons to that. Like, it's good for my brain, you know? Like, I've had a great time. I've learned lots of things. I have a wider skill set as a result, and that is super fulfilling. But like, if you can stick into a lane, like, you typically earn more money in the long run. Like, there might be a long period of time in which you're just sort of where it sucks. and it's boring as fuck. But you end up in the long run making a bunch of money because you have more experience than frickin' anybody. Is it worth it? To me it's not, man, it's not. I'm putting on the last one here. Very exciting moment in motorcycle history. Bam. Bam, it's on. All right, now I need to find the one that I wanted to replace. It had the bolt head that was a little iffy there. I think it's that one. All right. So I think it's this guy here. I'm gonna pop that back off. So now I want to go through and tighten down all these bolts on the bottom. The clamps on the bottom part that attach it to the actual cylinder heads. I want to tighten those down right now. The other ones on the top that attach it to the throttle body, I'm gonna leave those loose still. But it's kind of weird, like life is weird because like when you're young, you sort of spend a lot of time contemplating what life is gonna be like what you're gonna do with your life, all that sort of stuff, how it will turn out. You imagine how it will possibly turn out, whatever, and what you want to accomplish, what you'd like to do. And then at some point in life, you sort of start to look back. Like I'm at that midlife point in which you start to look back and assess what you did do, how it turned out, what went wrong. Those sorts of questions. And it's just, yeah, this one is hard to get to, man. This one is particularly hard to get to. The other ones I had no real problem with, but this one, it's a very weird angle. So now I want to actually try and get the throttle body on here. And try and lube these up just a little bit. Soapy water, that's the truth. And this crazy, crazy throttle body. Try and get this guy on here. There's so many things happening here. So this gets oriented this way. And then there's some hoses that run places. I need to get that hooked up first. All right, it's not too bad. I thought that was gonna be a nightmare, getting that one on there. All right, flip this upside down. There's so many tubes. All right, I feel like I'm just forgetting tubes. Like there's random stuff all over. There's a random tube there. There's this guy. Why are there so many tubes? Boy, I hope this isn't more obvious at some point. I feel like I need to get the intake out, the actual air box, and get that stuff sort of lined up before we get too far here, because I feel like otherwise there'll be opportunities missed to like line things up. Although I'm not sure to run the bike I really need the air box at this point. So that goes towards the back. This guy goes up, so that's obviously where that tube goes. Good. There's a random tube just waiting for me. There's another sensor over here somewhere. And then another sensor here. What the heck? Sensor there and there. Wow. Okay, so there's one sensor there. Just sort of hanging out, waiting for its opportunity. There's that guy. Sweet, there's one. All right, I think I have figured out the hose situation, I hope. We will find out here. I almost feel like I have to put this on as one unit. Like the smart play is to get this hooked up and then put the throttle body on there. Otherwise, forget it. Like getting these hoses on there, otherwise it's not gonna be feasible. This is so insane. And like the crazy part is I'm contemplating taking this apart again next week. God, my hands are too big. Don't have space. There's one, there's two. And now they're both off. Oh, that's my least favorite part of this bike is the intake is so crazy. There's not much space here either. It's difficult working conditions. There's a main wiring harness right here. This needs to be plugged in. So yeah, now we can worry about connecting the throttle right here. Where are those guys? I just saw them. I want to rotate this throttle around. Take these back off. All right, so far so good. And get this guy threaded in. Try and put our screws back in. We won that time. That stuff is on. This random hose here goes to our coolant stuff down here. And there's this main wiring harness connection too that I'm trying to keep track of. So I've actually run out of time today. I've got to move on. So I'm gonna leave it right here in limbo because there's like a tube that's supposed to connect up there and I don't know. I still got steps to sort out, man. So we'll see you tomorrow.